Boom shakalaka, what is going on everybody? Randall here from Crypto Love, and in today's episode we are going to be talking about Bitcoin being one of the best performing asset classes of the year. Binance Coin breaking its all-time highs even in this bear market we've been going through, and even Serena Williams supporting cryptocurrency. We will get into all of that stuff, plus an update on my weekend, right after a message from our sponsor. Alright guys, now last week was a pretty shitty week in terms of video making. I didn't make many videos because it was a holiday weekend, but this week will be something different. I'm aiming for 5 videos this week. I hope I can make all of them for you. And also, this past weekend, I told you I was going to an alligator show. 100% wrong. It was a crocodile show. Totally different. And this dude put his head in a crocodile's mouth. I was filming it because I was like, I am sure he's going to get his head eaten. He didn't. But I saved that video. I'll put a little bit on the end so you can see what went on with that thing. Also, I saw the bridge on the River Kwai. For those of you who saw that movie from 1957, I saw that bridge. Now, what's been going on in cryptocurrency? Well, pretty much a sideways market. Not much has happened in the past few days. Bitcoin right now at 53.08, Ethereum at 170, XRP at 32 cents, Bcash at 293, and EOS at 523. Of the top 10, Binance Coin is the only coin that's up significantly, up 6%. Most likely because tomorrow, well today, probably it's up today because they delisted Satoshi's Vision, Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision, that's what it's called. Bcash Satoshi's Vision. They delisted that one, but also tomorrow their own chain that they're launching. After that, the price will most likely sharply crash. If it doesn't, I would be surprised because that's generally what happens when chains launch. But maybe Binance Chain is different. Okay, the big gainers for today, DigitStyle, Factom, and Augur all up. Largely Monocoin, Crypto.com chain, and Basic Attention Token all down. Now if we take a look, I made this graph with lots of lines on it and stuff like that. Over the past, I don't know, this looks like 2 weeks here. We've just been in this little wedge right here. Eventually we'll break out of the wedge by when? Probably by about the beginning to middle of May. That's when it looks like we'll break out of it. We've just been hitting off the top and bottom. But the good news is, you know, we have this BARR pattern that I went over in the last video. And we're also sitting above the 200-day moving average, which are both positive indicators. Plus, it looks like we may be in the beginning of a new 4-year Bitcoin cycle. All these things point for the price going up. However, this line right here, my buddy Jay Canfield found this line. Whoops, there it is. That white one. That was support, 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 support. Now it seems to be resistance, resistance. Will it continue to be resistance as we ride up? And will the price come back down? Because everybody is waiting for the price to come back down. We'll get into that. But not just yet, because we're going to talk about some of the news articles. Bitcoin, it turns out, is one of the best performing assets of 2019. That's true. It's up almost over 40%. Starting the year at $37.60, right now it's over $5,300. That's a good return. But guess what? Not the best asset class. Turns out cryptocurrencies aren't that awesome after all. You could have just invested in oil and you would be doing better. It started at $46 a year at the beginning of the year, and now it's up $63. So oil is the biggest gainer for the year, but not as big a gainer. I don't know why this website keeps doing that. There we go. The biggest gainer for the year, Binance Coin. Had you invested in this, my goodness, you could have made an absolute killing right before they launched their chain. So, Binance Coin, price has been going up a lot because people anticipate their own chain mainnet. Now, Binance is the second coin to reach its previous all-time highs. The first was EOS in May. Oh no, not in May. The first was EOS, but the second, damn it, now I have to cut this freaking video. Okay, fine. So Binance was the second to hit its all-time high, but it's actually the first to surpass its all-time high. Now I made a video on Friday saying maybe it's a good time to sell Binance Coin. I still believe that. I think, you know, how much higher could the price go? It could go quite higher. But really, it's not going to go up forever. People are just buying it because they expect this mainnet to be something awesome. It's not even a true DEX. It's like it's not a decentralized, it's a totally centralized exchange. It's just non-custodial, so you hold your own keys. Not decentralized at all. but it's Binance Chain, you know? I think the price will plummet in the next couple days. Serena Williams in the news, launching Serena Ventures, okay? She has her own investment firm called Serena Ventures, where she has chosen to invest in 30 companies, including Coinbase. Okay, Coinbase is one of the ones that she chose. Now, she says she launched Serena Ventures with the mission of giving opportunities to founders across an array of industries. Serena Ventures invests in companies that embrace diverse leadership, individual empowerment, creativity, and opportunity. Most of the companies that she chose, I'd never heard of, but Coinbase was one of them. I heard of that one. If you want to go check out the rest of the companies there, you could go to serenaventures.com and check them out. Now, on to some news that you might actually care about. Brazil, shit. I'm going to have to cut the shit out of this video today. My goodness. Brazil has the highest inflation in 4 years, propels Bitcoin volume to record highs. So, in Brazil, inflation rate is going up, as you can see over the past year. Here's the inflation rate. Now it's at all-time highs. And guess what? Lots of people, as you can see here on this chart from CoinLib, this Brazilian real, a lot of people are pouring money from Brazilian real into Bitcoin. And then they're buying Ethereum, and then they're buying EOS, and then they're just holding EOS. So that's what they're doing with all their money right now. Not really, but it's happening over and over again. We see this over and over and over again. This isn't the first place. They have high inflation. They lose faith in their government, yada, yada, yada. They buy Bitcoin because they know Bitcoin actually lets them own their own money. We've seen this before. It's happening now. Neighboring Argentina is catching Bitcoin fever. Okay? Catching Bitcoin fever. That sounds pretty cool. Have you been bitten by the bug? Do you have the Bitcoin fever? Okay. We've seen it in Venezuela. We've seen it in Turkey. We've seen it in a whole bunch of other places like Cyprus and wherever else. Whenever there's stuff going on, people buy Bitcoin. And as a matter of fact, here's another reason why people may want to buy Bitcoin. This article here from the IMF blog talks about how they're cashing in, how to make negative interest rates work. So I've talked about this in previous episodes, how basically the past economic collapses, like the one in 2008, the housing collapse, all that the central banks did is that they cut inflation, they cut interest rates enormously in order to make it work. So interest rates dropped close to 0%. Now they're back up to like 3 to 5%, some 2 to 5%, something. They're not up very high. When there's another crisis, the only solution that they have right now is cutting interest rates. So that would actually mean they would cut negative interest rates, which, in case you don't understand what that means that you would have to pay money to keep money in your bank. Why on earth would you do that? You would just take out the cash and hold it yourself. Well, it turns out that this evil plan by the IMF is actually aiming to make more cashless societies, so then they can just charge you for holding your money. They just have rent on your money. If you don't spend your money, they're collecting rent on it. How bullshit is that? And if we take a look at some of the countries here, Sweden and other countries have been moving to a cashless society. If we take a look at this, this is how much of the society is actually in cash. The currency in circulation of percentage of GDP. Sweden, Norway, New Zealand, Iceland, and Denmark are the 5 lowest. Japan, Switzerland, Hungary are the 3 top ones. United States is somewhere in the middle, right around Mexico and Israel. Bullshit, right? That's why you need Bitcoin. And this is another thing that I saw recently. We've broken 400 days to the Bitcoin halving. Now, why is this important? I'll tell you why this is important. Number one, because this halving is a huge halving. Okay, it's not like other halvings. Why is this halving different than other halvings? I'll tell you why this halving is different than other halvings. Because it's going to cut Bitcoin's inflation rate to less than the Fed's 2% interest rate. Now, I mean, if you guys remember back a couple articles ago, it was a long time, I know, but Brazil had an inflation rate of 4.5%, and that caused people to buy Bitcoin. Well, this article talks about inflation too. Now, that's not the only thing I want to talk about. This actually has somewhat of a personal story here. I remember, I mean, everybody has those stories about when they first heard about Bitcoin, how they wish they would have bought in then, and blah, 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 blah. Well, I have a story that I want to tell you about that too. See, my brother and I used to live in Philadelphia. We lived near this little like post office store, and inside they had a Bitcoin ATM. And literally every time we would go to that post office, we would talk to each other. We'd be like, what, that Bitcoin thing? Isn't that thing that has like the fixed supply? Like, what's going to happen when there's no more of them? Like, You think it's just going to crash? And that would be the end of the conversation. We never do any research. We never watch any YouTube videos, nothing. For years and years we did this. We were doing this back when like Bitcoin was in the hundreds of dollars area. And damn, I wish I would have stopped by that Bitcoin ATM and saw a couple $1,000s in there. But I didn't, okay? Lesson learned. But for me, because I talk about simple economics, supply and demand. The halving is a huge reminder of the power of supply and demand. When supply is halved and demand remains the same, price goes up. But then, because of human nature, people thinking that it's scarce, because it is scarce, guess what? Demand increases as well, which means price amplifies so much, which means the price goes up even higher, which means to the moon. Obviously, to the moon. I'm not cutting, like, not editing this video either, because I think this is one of my best videos ever. Now I like to end my videos with something good. Prominent investor thinks Bitcoin will hit $1 trillion capitalization in next bull market. And when I read this, I was like, well, no shit. The last bull market, it was like $800 billion. But that was the total market cap. He's talking about Bitcoin by itself. This is Chris Burniske looking at the top 10 crypto assets at the end of the year. Makes me think Bitcoin and Blue will get to $1 trillion on its own in the next bull run. As you can see here, these are the top 10 cryptos. Blue is number 1, orange is number 10. And over the past few years, this is a logarithmic scale, obviously. So we have, 10 billion, 100 billion, a trillion, looks like the next one. Okay, I didn't find it very conclusive evidence, but he says, yes, Bitcoin will get to $1 trillion. And if that happens, it would be awesome, but it would really only be a 10x of Bitcoin. So it'd be a $50,000 Bitcoin. Not the type of article I was looking for. However, I didn't want to leave you there, okay? I wouldn't leave you unhappy. I always like a happy ending for you guys. So this is my happy ending. Willy Woo, he recently was on Tonebase. He did like a 5-hour long debate about is the bottom in. He thinks it is. He tweeted this at the end. He thinks the probability that Bitcoin has bottomed, he thinks 95%. To me, that's awesome because I started listening to this guy right after I read this article back in November 2017 about altcoin investing. Because before then, I actually held altcoins. Now I just trade altcoins, hold Bitcoin, that type of thing. Because this graph right here, okay, if you take a look at this, this is Bitcoin versus altcoins on a logarithmic scale over time, days since launch. This orange one is Bitcoin. All the rest of these are altcoins. You can see they're all trending down. Bitcoin's the only one going up, which means the only reason you would hold the only one to hold is Bitcoin. The only one to trade altcoins. After that, I was like, this dude's a genius. But not only that, he thinks the bottom is in. Other people thought maybe 80%, 75%. However, Tonebase think it's 40%. His other buddy, Tyler Jenks, thinks 20%, stuff like that. If you go and watch it, you guys can check out Tonebase channel. So that is that for today's episode. Short episode. I don't think I'm going to cut any of this stuff out of it. Why not, For those of you guys who want to get into trading more often, like trading altcoins for gains, hold Bitcoin, trade altcoins, I definitely recommend Signal Profits. It's not for everybody. You need to be trading with at least $3,000 to make it worthwhile because it is $300 a month if you want to do it. But if you trade with over $3,000 and you do it according to how they teach you to trade, yes, you can make money. And a lot of you have been talking about Ravencoin when it's time to buy in. Well, had you been a part of Signal Profits, you might have known. You can check it out. There's a 14-day trial for $7 in a link down in the description, or you could just, try it for longer than if you have the money. Other than that, also, Trading Signals is made by one of the top posters on TradingView, Jacob Canfield. Okay, he's been a professional trader for a long time, and that's that line I was talking about from the very beginning. And lastly, make sure you check out the Monarch wallet if you haven't. Hold all your cryptos in one wallet. Super simple. Earn interest on your cryptos while you hold them there. Super simple. It hasn't been hacked yet. Probably can't be hacked. He's trying to find people to hack it. People can't hack it. So that's all for that one. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for some little crocodile movies. Okay? Peace.
Crocodile.